All right. Last but certainly not least, we have the final build from the final regional event. The Federation 720 build, or 2360, or whatever you want to call it. This was the Rochester, New York Regional Champions build. Excuse me. Uh, we have USS Voyager with Jean-Luc Picard, Cheat Death, Data, Shelby, and Chekhov. I'm pretty sure that's the power token removing Chekhov. We've got the Enterprise D, good old back from the dead from the starter set. Mr. Spock for our extra actions. Admiral Kirk, Fleet Captain, the independent Klingon one, so all the crew costs less. A free cheat death from that Fleet Captain. 1 point Kyle and 1 point starter Miles O'Brien, the Disabler. And he managed to pull a pretty nice blind ship to add on to it, the Relora Sancour, and he was running it with the particle beam weapon. Alright, so this build, if we want to go back to what I was saying last Saturday, how much defense do you really need? And this one would fall under probably just enough. Voyager and Enterprise D are both 8 or 9 hit points. Voyager's 9 hit points, 4 health, 5 shield, I believe. So this is enough to at least generally withstand, definitely in the 2-hit KO range, maybe even the 3 with the agility. And then you add on cheat death for each of them on top of that. That brings it to 4 hits each you need to kill them. That is usually enough to unload quite a large number of attacks, even if your attack strength isn't quite up to par with the Borg 6. You still have 3, 4, or 5 from both of your main ships, and the blind booster just really helped that out a lot, even if it's going to die fast. Tucker, what are you thinking about for how this performs?
The major innovation here, and I feel like such an idiot for seeing this, is Data. Data is a card that has been much maligned by the community for a very, very long time. Here is the innovation, and it's important going forward. It is probably the best card right now against Borg Missile. Because those evade tokens, regardless of what you try to say, will work against Borg Missile.
Yes, for the moment they work against Borg Missile, and being
for
the only
moment.
thing that really
wow,
helps.
Wow.
What?
For the moment.
I just agreed with you.
I know, it's just you are really pulling hard for that rules form to override that, aren't you?
Well, it was never made in the first place, so.
What do you mean?
On top of Data, though, you can also the other things that would combine with that, should that ruling stand, are going to be the Science Fleet Officer, which could be useful in the future since you can spend scans as evades as well.
Yeah, and like Janeway Prize can. Well, Janeway Prize doesn't care about Borg Missile anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's things like that, Savik or something, but like. Yeah, this is actually really clutch, because unless they get all 4 hits or crits, to be fair, with a reroll that is very possible. I saw that a lot when I ran this build, when I ran Borg Missile Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
If they only get 3 or fewer, your evade tokens will get rid of 2 and do a green maneuver next turn, and you are peachy.
Or even a white maneuver, since this one has Chekhov on it.
Actually, yeah, that's even more true. So yeah, this is and one auxiliary power token is not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
this one you would definitely need to be running the double Borg Missile list to get through to Voyager. You can hurt the Enterprise D a little bit with it, but I'm not sure the Enterprise D cares as much.
Not really, no.
I mean, it's nice getting the extra action from Mr. Spock, so you are hurting it a bit, but between Kyle and Miles O'Brien and Admiral James T. Kirk, whose action can be taken by Voyager, I mean, you're still doing nasty things against anyone who's relying on upgrades, like the Wayun builds that were doing very well in other tournaments. Because he's got only 2 things, but that's still one more thing than most other people brought along to disable or steal stuff. David, what do you think about this build?
I think that to me, it's meant to shut Wayun Vero down early. If you can do that, if the D can do that with Miles, and then Voyager does it with Kirk, and you can get in your shots that first turn, then you've got a shot. You get a chance.
Mm-hmm. The other nice thing is that it does fall under the 50-point restrictions for the new suggested tournament format.
Right.
Even with alterations, considering the 2 new ways that have been released that are legal for play since the regional, that still gives you plenty of room to wiggle around for whatever new things you want to add into it. Which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Like, you don't even need the crew fleet captain for the slots. You could do it. You could take something else and start even bringing along like an E instead in a dorsal weapons array or something like that.
Well, I mean, I'd pretty much keep this build as is, just because, double sphere, tac drone, Borg missile is going to be legal in the new meta as well, and this is a build that definitely does very well against it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because each ship gets to survive. Will for the most part survive 4 hits on average. I'll say, and things like the Borg sphere 7 and 6. That's 13. I mean, they'll survive the 3rd shot from another six hitter, but I don't know. It's about even survivability, but these guys have more evade chances.
Yeah. Though I might, if I'm replacing things, I might replace the D with a Sutherland with dorsal weapons. Not a Sutherland, generic, whatever the Nebula. Yeah, that's because that's 29 points. The D's 28. I can lose a point somewhere, and I'll just have a better all-around ship, I think.
Oh, you mean the dorsal phaser array?
Yes. I'm
Gotcha.
sorry.
Not to be confused with the Cardassian dorsal weapons array, which disables every turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. But yeah, definitely nice to see any other faction doing not terribly against the Borg. Should be noted that to do so, they did have to go into 360 arcs of their own. I think that says something there.
And one of them is a pretty bad 360 arc when you get down to it.
Mm-hmm. And the other problem is that they're limited to range 1 to 2. So if someone with a range 3 shot, not counting like nebula conditions, which I'm sure some of the regional rounds had to be in. But the range 3 shot would have been the maneuvering choices that would have probably made the day there. Any free shots they could get off against this build would help a lot. But like, even out of range, the Voyager would still be rolling at range 3, 4 defense dice with a blank reroll and probably data and battle stations, so that one's not getting hurt. Your only choice really is to try to focus down the D first and then focus fire on Voyager after that. It sucks only getting to throw out 2 attack dice every turn, but I could see using data every turn actually being a viable strategy for just the Voyager going up against spheres and such.
Yeah, Borg missiles. I mean, that's why I like this build. There were some people who will go unnamed that were like, I don't know, do we have to talk about this now that the regionals are over? Yes, we absolutely have to talk about this.
Indeed. It's definitely a good thing. It's definitely a good thing, and I'm glad we had time for it. Let's see. Nice blind booster, you can rely on, but what, David?
If I see you using data, I'm not going to use Borg missile. I'm just going to take a 6 die shot at you.
Maybe.
Heck yeah.
Maybe so.
That's for the same reason you don't use Borg missile against someone who has Wayun and Barrel available.
Sure.
But it does lock them into reducing their attack dice. I mean, again, there were a number of games I won against Wayne Barrel where I never even fired Borg missile. Just the threat of having it there made my opponent play around it, and them playing around it was to my advantage.
Right.
But anyway, it turns out datas of all stripes are awesome against the Borg threat. Who knew?
Yeah.
So now which data are you going to run? This or TAC-Cube 001 data?
Probably, honestly, TAC-Cube 001 data. In this new meta, I am much less worried about attack cancellation than I am about Borg missile. Wait, did I say 001 data? I meant starter data.
Other bit, yeah. Scratch that, turn it around.
Yeah. The point is, I really think we're starting to get some okay weapons against attack cancellation, so I'm not terribly concerned, you know.
Now that we're finally getting things, especially with like the new independent, the new Mirror Universe Jennifer Cisco that disables things at the start of the game.
Yeah, it's only tech, I think, but still, it's worth it. Like, the answer is, she's hilarious with Ben Cisco, by the way, because Ben Cisco has the lore thing where you discard crew members for attack dice. So Ben Cisco tosses.
So she does her thing and he throws her out the airlock.
Yeah.
Nice.
And for everybody out there who's going, no, it's Mirror Ben Cisco. Mirror Ben Cisco never, ever, ever appeared in the show. All instances of Ben Cisco in the Mirror Universe were Prime Universe Ben Cisco pretending to be Mirror Ben Cisco. So there.
What? That's a lie.
No, he's dead.
He died after the first one.
Yeah, but you never see him in the first one.
You see him in the first one all the time.
You're right. Oh my God, you're right.
Don't be telling me I don't know my DS9. That's my series, man.
Listen, that Mirror Universe episode is so bad. The Intended makes me want to slit my throat every time she appears on screen. And just in case if somebody out there hasn't seen that episode, let's not talk about who the Intendant is. But it's awful.
Aww. I knew I was going to say some fun things about it, but
no.
That's all right. So, yeah. So, cancellation builds. There's less threat against cancellation builds from the regional perspective, but now we do have the availability of cost and dispersion field, so that might make things a little bit tougher.
Well, I mean, considering that, you know, I mean, look, everybody else, I am the person that is like not. I am okay with cost dispersion field. I really am. I know everybody else is against it. I'm okay with it.
Fair enough. Time to bust out the Ford Chang's Bird of Prey, right?
Sure. I mean, look, the answer is it's a problem with triple attack canceling Wayun Varel, but since that's not really a possibility anymore, what are you going to protect?
Mm-hmm.
I can deal with double attack cancellation at this point. It's long and arduous, but I can deal with it.
And hopefully you can deal with it before some of your ships die. But, yeah. I think that's going to do it for all of our topics tonight. On the news side of things, I am pleasantly surprised that somehow today they finally got up the Star Trek Attack Wing official WizKids rules discussion on the WizKids event system.
Yeah.
Does not have any answers yet, but hopefully we will have some of those in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, and we've been, and remember, all of us have been refreshing like madmen.
Oh yes, because we all want to know. I only posted 8 questions today, though. I didn't want to scare too many people off, but I'm sure there's probably another 40, 50, or 60 sitting in the waiting queue.
Now, I only posted 1 question, but it was a question Chris Guild already answered because I want to see how they answer it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't like Chris Guild's ruling.
Man,
let me guess, Bill,
we don't like Chris Guild's
evading.
We don't like Chris Guild's ruling. What the heck is up with that?
You what was I going to say? You asked about let me guess. You asked about the evading Magnamedi thingies.
Mm-hmm. And also, well, actually, the first thing I asked about was Quark.
Because you don't like Chris Guild's ruling on that.
Hmm.
Because you don't like Chris Guild's ruling on that.
Well, he didn't rule against it, so.
Well, and we learned from Colorado that WizKids doesn't
Except,
doesn't accept rulings that were made in the forums that didn't make it into the FAQ document.
yeah,
So,
there's
like
that
all
too.
those posts, even that Andrew just thumbed up,
Literally 320 pages of posts when you put them together.
are useless.
Useless!
Now, sensible TOs will follow those things, but
But the TO at Colorado wasn't sensible by that definition.
yeah.
And this is why we have needed a rules forum for a very, very long time.
And by the way, if you're the TO at Colorado listening to this, please note that I said by that definition. I think you were a great guy, even if you're a little annoyed at me at the moment.
Tucker, why would anyone ever be annoyed at you? I mean, come on, man. You are a very charming and handsome individual.
That's very kind of you to say.
With a dapper hat.
Oh my goodness, look at my hat. My hat is amazing.
Considering I've never seen your face yet, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Come on, man.
Wait, seriously?
No, you've never video chatted with me on these things ever.
Oh, I'll do that. I'll do that sometime. I just don't like broadcasting my face to the public.
That's cool. I'm a little ashamed of mine as well. I try to hide it, but you know.
Behind a mirror goatee.
Indeed. This is evil version. No one ever gets to see the clean shaven version of me anymore. It's my actor's mask, okay? That's how these things work.
Dun 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 dun.
All right. Other things newsworthy besides the rules forum. I don't know. I think we should be seeing a preview for OP3 coming soon, or the prize from OP3, the assimilated. Is it assimilated Keldon or assimilated Galler? I don't remember.
Galler.
Galler.
That's
Giving
unfortunate.
us 3 of those.
Ooh! Borg cloaking device!
What?
Or no, it's the Keldon that comes with the cloaking device, isn't it?
Yes,
Oh wait, no, but the mirror Galler came with a cloaking device.
it sure did.
I can dream.
You're dreaming of a Borg cloaking device.
I'm dreaming of a Borg cloaker.
To be fair, when the cube first came out, cloaking, or even when the sphere first came out, the cloaking sphere and cube were pretty fun.
Yeah, until people realized that trading like 9 shields for 4 defense dice and costing a ton of actions was really not that great of an idea.
No, but it was darn fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. Beyond that, we've got all of Wave. Is this Wave 8 or Wave 9 now? This is Wave 9, isn't it?
Yep.
Wave 9 releases tomorrow. We will have reviews for all of those up for you sometime within the next week. It might even be a bonus episode, so we'll have to wait and find out for that.
We keep talking about a bonus episode. I don't know if that's going to happen.
No, because I've been talking to was it Sean? I think it was Sean online for when he can come on and we can start doing some of those the build episode you were talking about earlier, Tucker.
Hey, I'm cool with that. You know I like Sean.
Indeed. Let's see. Other than that, my game night is tomorrow. I will be playing some Star Trek Attack Wing and some D&D Attack Wing and just murdering everybody, hopefully.
Oh, by the way, I'm so upset. You know, I've been waiting for so long to play Attack Wing, right?
Yeah.
I missed the Arena and Tholian Web Night.
What?
You heard me.
What happened? Did you just forget about it or what?
No, I thought that it was going to be after a particular event, but they said at that event.
Oh. Oh, that's unfortunate.
No, I blame my friend Hobby. Well, he came into town right when it was supposed to be. I blame you.
It's all his fault.
Yeah, pretty much. It's all. See, this is funny. I'm going to tell this to Hobby. Hobby, they say it's all your fault, and they don't even know you. They know you too well. Yeah. See, this
Hey,
is.
hey, hey! I've learned that everything around my area is all my fault. So
Yeah, well, I mean, so that no, see, that's the thing is that it's funny. So for anybody listening who used to play on the Free Worlds Freelancer Total Conversion server, shout out, yub yub. You guys will know what that means.
I know one.
Shut up, Bobby. All right, I'm done. I promise.
all right.
Oh, by the way, that reminds me. I have to give a special shout out next week. I won't say to who, but you guys have to help me remember. It's
Gotcha.
really important.
Shout out next week. All right.
Okay. Also, if your polls aren't closed, go vote.
Yes, it's voting day. Get the little sticker that says I voted. I don't have mine on me right now, but it's there. I'll find it later.
I'm serious, guys, especially if you're on. I think polls have closed in Mountain Time, but if you are on the West Coast, it is a very close race to control the Senate right now. So either way, however you feel about that subject, your vote definitely still matters.
Indeed. Let's see, David. Any news or anything special happening for you this week?
Not this week. Just finished up Resistance OP1, and I'm sitting in first place. So that's a nice turnaround from Collective. So I'm a happy camper so far.
Nice. Yep. Let's see. I've got my Resistance is Futile 2 coming up the 18th, so we will be not having an episode that Tuesday, which is why I say we'll be having a bonus episode sometime soon. Apart from that, everything's looking pretty cool, and I think that is going to do it for tonight's show.
Oh, wait, one more thing. Sorry,
One more thing?
I forgot I built this. USS Voyager, Wei-Yun 6, Independent Fleet Captain Klingon, William T. Riker, Beverly Crusher, Lee Nollis, Croesus the Doctor, and Enterprise D with Styles, Positron Beam, Beryl, and Koss is 90 points for a Rebel fleet.
Jeez, man. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, Croesus might not be, but you can use Superior Intellect instead or something. Anyway, have fun.
Indeed. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something interesting and valuable in tonight's episode. Keep an eye on those rules forums, and hopefully we'll get those answered sooner rather than later. Until then, have fun playing, and may Q be generous with your dice. Have a good night, everybody.